Okay. So hello everyone. So the purpose of this recording is for us to have a reference since I just assume the role as your teacher in understanding the self. So they may have viewpoints that we had missed. No? And for today, uh, I will try or we will try to fill those gaps. So lesson one under UTS is philosophical perspective on the self. So at the end of this semester, uh, at the end of this module, we will be able to distinguish the difference between different philosophical perspective, and then we were able to discuss different representation and conceptualization of the selves from various discipline perspective. So let me just share you a quote from Aristotle. According to Aristotle, knowing yourself is the beginning of true wisdom. So, of course, for me, that means that before we even study things that are externally from us, we should we should start. We should start by exploring ourselves, as this will guide us, give us insights, and serves us guidance on our day to day life. So the first perspective or first disciplinary perspective that we will be talking about is philosophy. No? So Aristotle was a philosopher, and I guess the best way to start this lesson is to discuss how different philosophers have viewed the nature of the self. So when we say philosophy, philosophy is the study of general and fundamental questions about existence, knowledge, values, reasons, mind, and language. So philosophy came from a Greek word means philo and sophy. So that's literally translated as love of wisdom. So in other words, philosophy is a field of inquiry that understand or studied different different biggest questions of our life, such as the question about existence, the question about knowledge, and so on and so forth. So in a world in a era wherein in a era wherein uh, in a time wherein people during an era when scholars were preoccupied with scientific pursuit, mathematics, agriculture, engineering, and astronomy, there is this an in, there is this person who is more passionate for human behavior. No, his name is Socrates. So who is Socrates? So amidst the prevailing interests of his time, he stood out due to his profound curiosity about the essence of human nature. So Socrates is a renowned as one of the earliest figures or people who delved into the exploration of the human self. Now, nevertheless, uncertainties surrounding his existence arise from uh, the absence of any written records authored by him. Therefore, uh, medyo questionable yung kanyang existence because wala siyang kahit anumang written records na sinulat niya. No? So our insights into Socrates were predominantly stem from the documentation provided by his students Plato, no? Who not only become a philosopher himself, but also left us with valuable evidence about Socrates' teachings and idea. No? So how did Socrates understand the self? No? So according to Socrates, the self comprises of two distinct components, and that is our body, and the other one is our soul. So what is body? Our body is the tangible aspect of our existence that is capable of perceiving the world through our senses. Through our senses. And then uh, our soul on the other hand is the intangible element, meaning to say hindi siya nahawakan, that also serves to, that animates our body. You know, when I say animate or animation, it means that the soul provides the life force that propels our body to move or action. So this framework is often referred as dualism, no? Dualism. So, saan na ba ako? So the perspective of dualism is it outlines the separation between body and soul, but recognize both entities. So uh, furthermore, or in addition, Socrates suggested that we as an individual exist in two different realms. The first is the physical realm that encompass the concrete and perceivable world accessible to our senses, and it compasses the material object, events, and occurrence we encounter in our day-to-day lives. So this reality is susceptible for change. This is impermanence and the limitation of the material environment. On the other hand, the second realm is the soul realm, or in other texts referred as metaphysical realm, ideal realm, and other uh, terminologies, which exists on the abstract plane. In material plane, this reality consists of concepts, ideas, and form that aren't directly observable by our senses. It is an eternal and unchanging realm, unlike physical realm. So, soul realm represents the ultimate reality that surpasses the confines of the physical world. So, in terms of timing, our existence in this reality are different, no? So, in the physical realm, our presence begin from the moment that we are born, no? Intertwined. We are born with our physical body or intertwined with our physical body. So, in the realm of the soul or in soul realm, our existence extend from before our birth and persists beyond our physical death. So, meaning to say, we already existed. We already pre-existed in soul realm, and then by the time that we are born with our physical body, that's the time wherein we transition from soul realm into physical realm. So this explanation of realm and the distinction between body and soul were very essential in Socrates' philosophical understanding of human experience. So, but according to Socrates, no, the soul is the important, because damage from soul is much more impactful than damage from our body. Therefore, the self, according to Socrates, is our soul. Eh? So, there was a Greek uh, uh, there was a saying, or there was a famous phrase in ancient Greece during back then. Uh, the, this phrase was engraved in different temples. No? So the phrase said, "Know thyself." So what is know thyself? So Socrates believed that our objective goal was primarily for the pursuit of wisdom, virtue during one's lifetime. No? So meaning to say, the primary goal of us is to seek through wisdom, no? To understand things are and virtues. No? So how can we do that? How can we do that? No? Uh, so so how can we do that? So there is a famous saying of Socrates, no, that means a lot in his philosophy. No, sabi niya, one thing I know is that I know nothing. That is praised by Socrates, that encapsulates his approach, which is what we call Socratic method. No, Socratic method to philosophy, which involved seeking wisdom through dialogue, introspection or self-examination, and the willingness to question and be questioned. No? Like for example, who am I? What is the purpose of my life? What am I doing here? What is justice? And so on and so forth. No? So, self-knowledge, it means a lot, no? So, when we were able to know who we are, so according to Socrates, all of the basic issues and difficulties that we may face or that we face uh, vanish or will be banished, and everything seems like clear, or everything will be clearer. Now, self-knowledge means knowing one's degree of understanding about the world and knowing one's capability and potential. And self is achieved and is something to work on. No, that is to pursue more wisdom by asking ourselves of those questions that may help us in our day-to-day life. No? So Socrates emphasized that the idea of knowing thyself or having self-awareness is fundamental to leading a meaningful and virtuous life. No? He believed that by understanding our own thoughts, values, motivation, limitation, individuals could make wiser decisions and act more ethically and lead more a fulfilling life. So that is the self according to Socrates. No? So Socrates has a student, and student is none other than Plato. So who is Plato? Plato is one of Plato is one of Socrates' student. So he was also from Greece. So he was also known as he was also known as one of the great philosophers of our history. No? So he was the student of Socrates, and he was the teacher of Aristotle. No? He was born on 400 before Christ was even born. So so many of Socrates' idea was adopted by Plato. So the concept of dualism was also adopted uh, uh, by Plato, no? And later on he expounded this is understanding of the soul, which is I will be discussing now. So the theory is Plato's idealism. So he insisted that uh, empirical reality we experience in the world is fundamental and real, and is only a shadow of mere appearance, while ultimate reality is real as it is eternal and constitute the abstract universal essence of the thing. So when we say empirical reality, so this is same with the idea of Socrates that we live in physical realm. No, however, he believed that those things are not fundamentally real. Therefore, we should not focus on those things that we are seeing outside our body. No? However, hence, he wants us to focus on ultimate reality, and that is what is real as eternal and constitutes abstract universal essence of the thing. So this is pretty similar with Socrates' concept of soul realm. So same with Socrates and Plato. So aside from the ultimate goal is for us to reunite with the soul realm or ultimate reality, as what Plato's termed it. Ne? So how can we do that? Of course, according to Socrates, by examining ourselves, and that is also same with Plato, and that is through attaining true wisdom. So all of the things that exist in physical world are therefore unreal, as they are immaterial blueprints or copy of abstract universal and eternal essence. So Plato added that ideas are object of the intellect known by reason alone and objective realities that exist in a world of their own. So in terms of concept of the self, Plato was one of the first philosophers who believed in the concept of enduring self. So what is enduring self? That is represented by soul. Uh, uh, He argued that the soul is eternal and constitute enduring self because even after death, the soul will continue to exist, no, in ultimate reality or in soul realm, no. So when it comes to soul, Plato expounded the theory of uh, Socrates. He believed that the soul is consists of three more soul, or this is what they call tripartite soul. So the first soul would be the the first soul would be the ano kasi yan. So rational soul, rational. So rational is responsible for thinking, deciding, uh, deciding, judgment, and so on and so forth. No. So from the word itself, rational. Therefore, this is the one who thinks, no. So this is rational soul. And then the other soul would be the spiritual soul. So spiritual soul is responsible for different emotions that we experience, no, such as sadness, love, emotions, uh, uh, empathy, jealousy, and so on and so forth. And then lastly is what they called appetitive soul. So appetitive soul is a soul that is responsible for our basic drives and needs, no? Such as the drives for hunger, the drives for sex, the drives for breathing, and so on and so forth. No? So according to Plato, uh, the real self is according to Plato, uh, the real self is our rational self, no? As it is the one who makes decision, and it is the one that has the ability to pursue uh, different wisdom, no. So the rational soul. So that is uh, the soul according to Plato, no. So the goal of rational soul is it should be the one who takes control, because if spiritual soul, say, let's say, takes over, uh, it may lead into a problematic personality or problematic sense of self, such as person who only loves so much but do not think the consequences of his or her actions. And then next would be Saint Augustine. Saint Augustine, so the father of theology. So he was considered one of the most important figures that the society have, no. So Saint Augustine was a saint that canonized by popular acclaim and later recognized as a doctor of the church in 1898 by Pope Boniface the eighth, no. So Saint Augustine was heavily influenced by by Neoplatonism concept, which is the concept of dualism, no. But in his theory, he integrated dualism into Christianity. Yeah? And Saint Augustine has a lot of works that are still relevant up to this day. So one prominent is in psychology, and theology, and in philosophy. So, Saint Augustine reflection, so his reflection on the relationship between time and memory greatly influenced many fundamental doctrines of psychology, no? Such as the concept of time. No, according to Socrates, time was not a concept that is outside of our body. Meaning to say, time only exists in ourself, in our mind. No? So time is something that people measure within their memory. So time is not feature or property of the world, but a property of the mind. He believed that the times present of things, past, present, future, are all coexisting in the soul. No, so he also believe in soul. No, so according to uh, Socrates, the time present of the past is memory. Uh, yun to. And then the time present of the thing present is what we call direct experience, and the time present of those future is what we call the expectation. So he emphasized that memory of the past is significant in anticipation of the future and presence of the present. So in St. Augustine methods of introspection, so awareness of one's mental processes, memory is the entity through which one can think meaningfully about temporal continuity. This continuity is possible only by and through memory. So the idea of the past future can be seen as equivalent entities that exist. No, time past and time future are not real in themselves, but they are only real as long as they exist in the mind or consciousness. Uh, so another thing that Socrates have said is or have proposed is the concept of memory and expectation. So the existence of past and the future for Saint Augustine is only possible through memory and expectation. No? So introspection became one of the most important idea in psychology, which pertain to the inquiry of the soul, then of the mind, consciousness, and thoughts. This confirmed the superiority of humans over other organisms since we humans have consciousness. No? So Saint Augustine argued that as far as conscious can be extended backward to any past action or forward to actions to come, it determines the identity of the person. So, so what is self according to Saint Augustine? So the self consists of body and soul, just like the concept of Platonism. But however, when Saint Augustine integrated this concept into Christianity, uh, uh, the ultimate objective, the ultimate objective of Socratic and Platonic ideas are for us to reunite with our soul. Saint Augustine's believed that the ultimate goal of a man is to be with his creator, not to reunite with his creator. Hence, when Saint Augustine, hence when we ask Saint Augustine, how uh, he did see the human nature, he can answer this through theologically. Like for example, the man was made by the image of the God, so the man can be whoever the man we can be uh, whoever we can be whoever we wanted to be, no, because God has given us free will and so on and so forth. So next would be René Descartes. So who was he? A French philosopher and mathematician. He was famous for his theory, Cogito. He was famous uh, for his praise or philosophy, Cogito ergo sum, or translated as I think therefore I am. No. So what is cogito ergo sum? So so the existence of anything that you registered from your senses can be doubted. No, mean to say all of the things that we have already know or the things that we can see are subject for questioning or doubted. No, so one can always doubt about the certain things, but the very fact that one doubts is something that cannot be doubted. No, so that's why uh, according to Rene Descartes, the fact that we are thinking is the evidence that we are living. No, so the only humans have what they call hubris or obsessive prides of thinking such irrelevant question and existence and purpose in our life. No, so that's what differ us from other creatures. No, like for example, Dog doesn't ask, that doesn't doubt his existence. Uh, Cats do not doubt their purpose in life. No, it is only human who has this what we call hubris, or the pride of thinking of such irrelevant questions about existence and purpose of life. So humans were satisfied themselves with their own answers and to their own thinking. So we humans have the audacity and the impertinence to try to figure out the meaning of life, and are actually self-aware of their own existence. No? So, what is self according to Rene Descartes? So, I believe that the self is a thinking thing, or a substance whose whole essence or nature is merely thinking. So the self is the thinking mind. No? So the self is real, and not just an illusion. He also reassured that the self is different from the body. The self and body exist but differ in existence and reality. So the self is feature not of the body, but of the mind and task. That's why previous theories have focuses on body and soul. Rene Descartes what was different from them because he integrated mind instead of soul in his dualism concept. No? So, mind and body for Descartes, the self is nothing else by a mind-body dichotomy. No? Though the mind was always precede actions of our body, uh, humans are self-aware and they are the masters of their own universe. No? And this philosophy uh, largely influenced the Western philosophy. No? That's why there was also a claim that Rene Descartes might be the father of Western philosophy. No? Next would be Patricia and Paul Churchland. So the concept of dualism was for them, or for the upcoming theories, for them that concept is a concept that cannot be studied, no, empirically, or studied scientifically. That's why they do not believe in that concept. So Paul and Patricia Churchland believe that the self is the brain, no. So so their concept of eliminative materialism suggests that common sense understanding of the mind is deeply wrong, and some or all of the mental states possessed by the common sense does not actually exist. No? So our common sense is something that is false. Most people think that uh, we have a stream of consciousness that contains image and conception of things about the world and ourselves is direct representation of how the world is formed. So the self for Churchland is nothing. For Churchland, the self is nothing else but the brain. It's simply the cell is contained with physical brain. That's why they also believe that everything that has some matter, or anything that doesn't have particles, or substance that makes a person intangible aspect, they do not believe that those things exist. Like for example, the concept of mind, the concept of body, the concept of mind and the concept of soul, because those things are immaterial. Now, therefore, these two doctors do not believe in that concept. So next would be Maurice Merleau-Ponty. So the concept is what can we call monaism, no? Monaism. Therefore, uh, totally different from dualism, because Maurice Merleau-Ponty believes that body and our mind are just the same. No, they are just one entity. No, so it distinguish the body in two types. No, so number one is subjective body, and that is live and experience, and then number two is objective body, that is observed and scientifically investigated. Now these two are not different bodies, they are correlated with one another. So according to Maurice, I am my body, because he doesn't believe that body and mind can be separated. No? So an example of this concept is when you drink, your mind also was affected of the alcohol as well as your body. Therefore, those two things cannot be separated. Okay, so that is the concept. So that is the concept of Maurice Merleau-Ponty, and he is the last theory, or is the last theories or philosophers that discussed or understand the self from various perspectives. So what are the three things that we can learn from this activity? What are the three things that we can learn from this module? So number one, uh, uh, there are many philosophers which most of them make sense, no? Or they are my few philosophers that you think that they do not make sense at all. So what is important is maybe the purpose of studying philosophical perspective is not to believe purely on what they suggested, but at least get or gain an insights from things that you think are that you think that makes sense and irrelevant, and those things sooner or later will guide you or will help you in challenges that you may face in the future. Okay, so this will be the end of this recording for philosophical perspective.